Warning, the following program has been rated T for truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, we think you can. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, truth warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Welcome, my truth warriors and mythbusters to the Naked Truth Report. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells, and guess what? I am absolutely excited because what? Because this morning Trump tweeted that he's opening up a new investigation. He's going to ask the DOJ and the FBI to do what? To investigate itself into this issue about what's going on with this infiltration or surveillance into his campaign. Tomorrow is going to be the big day. It's going to be the big news. So Trump will order the Attorney General to impanel a new investigation of itself and the FBI in their role in infiltrating and spying on the Trump campaign for political purposes. This was Clapper was actually on one of the shows last week CNN, trying to justify or trying to explain that this was reasonable and a good thing. Well, this morning, Trump tweeted, "I hereby demand and will just do so officially tomorrow," which is Monday, "that the DOJ look into whether or not the FBI/DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration." This is implicating Obama. So Trump is asking for a new investigative unit. The issue, I don't think it's going to be like the DOJ investigating the DOJ. He may ask for another special counsel, right? And then earlier this morning, Devin, I said last week, it was David. Yeah, it's Devin Nunes. He's the Republican who represents the 23rd District of California. I think that's Fresno County. And he's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And this morning he was on one of the talking shows. I think he was on Fox. And he said that there is a red line. And that red line may have been crossed by spying on a political opponent. Kevin, can you play that audio for me, please?
If they ran a spy ring or an informant ring and they were paying people within the Trump campaign, if any of that is true, that is an absolute red line. There is not an honest person in this country who can believe that taxpayer dollars going to fund this ring. If any of that is true, this is a red line in this country. You can't do this to political campaigns.
So that was Devin Nunes, a representative from California. We like Devin Nunes, and that representative, that congressman, is one we can be proud of. So many bad things are happening politically in California, but Devin Nunes, we can be proud of, right, folks? And then the other thing that was asked is whether or not, so the question that should be asked is whether or not President Trump can declassify all the things that the DOJ and the FBI are hiding from Congress. So former Deputy Attorney General John Malcolm actually said on Fox this morning, can you play the audio of what John Malcolm said, Kevin? Thanks.
And as the president, does he have the power to declassify all this? Doesn't he have that power?
He does. And he could also fire Bob Mueller, and he could shut down this investigation. Whether he will choose to do so and take the political hit that involves, I don't know. He has not done that to date. But asking the FBI to disclose a confidential informant is a bit of a risky business. But look, I think Devin Nunes is onto something. It's one thing to look at an individual and say they're a potential Russian spy. It's another thing to let this go on and extend the tentacles of this investigation deep into the Trump campaign. It's unclear at this stage just how deep those tentacles went, whether this one informant was the only person, whether there were others snooping around, but it's very, very dangerous and once more has left the FBI vulnerable to attack of having been politicized.
The FBI being weaponized and politicized. That was former Deputy Attorney General John Malcolm. So tomorrow, a lot is going to be in play. Tomorrow is going to be dynamic. Tomorrow is going to be impactful, right, folks? I mean, maybe something is going to be done. What do you think? But anyway, I have a guest in the audience. I have a guest in studio today, a guest with me here in studio. It's Frank DeMartini, and he is running we're talking about politics, folks. He is running in the 43rd district. So we're supposed to be voting June 5th, correct? So, Frank, tell me, why did you decide to run in the 43rd district on the Republican ticket, correct?
Oh, yes, I'm definitely a Republican. I decided to run because you reach a point in your life when you say, I can sit home and complain like everybody else, or I can get off my butt and do something about it. And that's exactly what I chose to do here. It's gotten to the point where people like Maxine Waters, who I'm running against, just think they can do and say anything and get reelected over and over again. At this point in time, you look at the 45th district and you say, what is she doing for it? She's doing nothing. She's running around yelling, impeach 45, impeach 45 every time she opens her mouth. Meanwhile, there's homeless all over there's homeless villages. There's Hoovervilles all over her district. It's got one of the worst education rankings in the entire country, and the mean income level is approaching the poverty line if you take out the two affluent areas of the district. So she's doing nothing. She's been there since 1991, and all she does is ingratiate herself to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
So tell my listeners exactly what district, the area which is encompassed by the 43rd district. Give me the border lines,
It's, for lack of a better way to explain it, for people who live in the Southern California area, it's the triangle bordered by the 10, the 405, and the 110.
The 10, which is the Santa Monica.
Right.
The 405, which is the San Diego.
And the 110, which is
the harbor.
Which is the harbor. So it's basically all within that area, except it goes south of the 405 in Torrance, and it goes west of the 405 in Playa del Rey and Westchester.
Oh, so she does get Playa del Rey
and Westchester.
Yeah.
And it does not include Culver City.
And it does not. So Culver City is sort of carved out, right?
Right. If you go with the actual cities in the district, it's Westchester, Playa del Rey, almost to the water, not to the water. Mm-hmm. It's Torrance to PCH and Hawthorne Boulevard. Mm-hmm. And it's all of Hawthorne, Inglewood, Gardena, Lomita, and Lawndale.
And it's not Compton?
Not Compton at all. And it's small portions of West Carson.
I didn't know,
It's changed. This is the second time it's been redistricted.
Yeah,
because the first time it was almost all South Central. It was a large proportion was African American.
Right.
Now it's only 24% African American.
Right. But listen, as I said to my Truth Warriors before, I used to write. I would write articles on the Huffington Post, and I interviewed Maxine Waters. And I guess that interview was back in 2009 or 2008. That wasn't the area she was representing. And because, in fact, I think I went and met her about an Acorn stuff. Didn't she used to represent Watts?
Yeah. No, she's got no Watts at all. In fact, most of Watts now is in Karen Bass's district in 37.
How did this – see, I feel like –
She was gerrymandered in. I mean, it's not like she wasn't gerrymandered in before, but, I mean, Gardena is almost entirely Democratic. So the chances of flipping this district are very slim, but I've got a plan on how to do it.
So tell us that plan.
A lot of it involves dealing with the getting into the evangelical churches and talking to the ministers directly. Mm-hmm. I'm a born-again Christian, and the bottom line is she doesn't represent any Christian ethics or morals whatsoever. This woman believes in abortion on demand up until the minute the baby is born. Mm-hmm. I mean, how can you even tell a Pentecostal or a AME minister that all of his flock are voting for a woman who believes in abortion on demand? She believes totally in gay marriage, another non-Christian issue. She believes in the assembly bill that just got beat in the California Assembly that was basically going to ban the Bible. So, this is a woman that is not Christian, and she walks around saying, praise God. But she votes for every non-Christian issue she can possibly vote on as long as Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer tell her to.
Well, let me tell you, that is sort of like the conundrum about Black America, because we are known traditionally, historically, for being very religious, and yet we're also very Democrat. So it's sort of
That's all because of Lyndon Johnson.
Right, but it's like sort of a paradox. And, what I do here is I'm trying to get Black folks to stop voting Democrat, right? So now you're also running, now in June 5th, we won't be like you against Maxine Waters. It will be you and how many other Republicans?
It's, California's got the top two.
Right.
So we are technically running against Maxine.
Right.
Because there's 5 people in the election, 3 Republicans, 1 Green Party, and Maxine. The top 2 go to the election in November. So I don't think the Green Party guys got a chance, and I don't think any of us have a chance at beating Maxine in a 3-way race. So when you look at it that way, it's 3 Republicans running against each other. I think I have the best chance to beat them because I can talk issues. The other 2 cannot.
But isn't the other guy Omar Navarro?
Omar Navarro, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Omar if you want to talk about Omar.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Omar's a 29-year-old kid that's never had a job in his life, and he has not all he's ever done since he hit 21 is run for an office and lose. And managed to...
But he has the highest profile, would you not say?
Not according to the people in the district I'm talking to. In fact, when I'm walking the district and knocking on doors, I've probably knocked on 250, 300 doors and spoken to about 200 people. 3 people have said, isn't there somebody else running? Only one of them knew his name before prompting. That's an unaided awareness of less than 1%, which means with all of his national Twitter, nobody in the district knows who he is. And when I decided to run in August, there was a poll done in which we both came out with approximately 12.5% of the vote, which means he had 0 unaided awareness then. So, yeah, he's got a lot of people in Florida and Texas and Alabama that are giving him money, but I don't think he has anybody in Hawthorne or Inglewood who knows who he is. They know who he is in Torrance because that's where he's from.
So, in other words, how long have you been out there doing this? Since August, you said?
I started thinking about running in August. I spoke to a lot of people. I filed my papers in October, and I've been formally electioneering probably since the beginning of February.
And we're going to be, this primary is June 5th, right?
Primary is 2 weeks from Tuesday.
And how, I don't see any I wasn't familiar with your name because you are now affiliated with my sponsor / advertiser, the South Los Angeles Inglewood Republican Assembly. That's how I became familiar with you, correct?
Yes, I'm a member of that group.
Right. And that's how I became, but before then, I wouldn't have known about you, right? But, Maxine Waters is in my district. I'm in Karen Bass's district.
Yeah.
So you're telling me the feedback you're getting from folks in that district, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm telling you. I knock on doors, and 3 people have said, isn't there somebody else running? One of them knew the guy's name before I said it. And I don't know how much you know about statistics and propaganda and statistics, but 1% unaided awareness is basically nothing. I mean, I come from the movie industry, and you have a hit movie at 6% unaided awareness. The unaided awareness right now for the new Star Wars movie next week is 19%.
Okay, well, let's get to the issues, because you say you come from the movie industry. That's not politics. So why? And then Omar Navarro hasn't had a job, you said. So then who are the other candidates running? There's
another guy named Edwin Duterte. He's a Republican. And
what's his background?
Small businessman. He's from the Torrance area, born and raised. He spent a lot of time in Las Vegas. I don't really know what he's done for a living other than this. He's a small businessman. I think he has some real estate investments.
And so why would a guy in the movie business want to get involved in politics? That's a question. Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger did it, right?
Yeah, and so did Ronald Reagan.
And so did Ronald Reagan. Okay, so why you now?
Like I said at the beginning of the segment, I got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. Mm-hmm. In 2008, when President Obama got elected, I thought it was a great moment for the United States. And then it got worse. I started voting in 1980. That was my first year. I voted for Ronald Reagan. I've basically never voted for a Democrat my whole life. Mm. But I was proud that we had elected an African-American president.
Mm. Oh, please call us Black Americans.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
but
I hate African-American, and I hate people of color. Please,
do you want to hear?
Do
you want to hear a story that's kind of funny but off topic?
Yeah.
I worked at a large independent movie company, and one of the owners was from South Africa. Mm-hmm. His oldest daughter applied for college, mm-hmm. and on the box, she checked African-American. Mm-hmm. She was born in Johannesburg. Mm-hmm. She's whiter than I am. Mm-hmm. Her parents are both white. Mm-hmm. Let's just say when she went for her interview to get into the college, they were shocked. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They were like, it says African-American here. And she was like, yeah, I was born in South Africa, and I'm an American citizen.
Right. It's like Jesse Jackson came up with that nomenclature, and I don't think it's appropriate for us. But anyway, let's get back to the issues. And the main issues for the Naked Truth Report listeners, for my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters, is immigration. So tell me your position on immigration.
Okay, I have a slightly different position than the president. I mean, I believe that we have to secure the border. We have to build a wall. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. And we have to build a wall not to keep people from crossing the border. Mm-hmm. We have to build a wall to keep the drugs from coming in. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you're aware, but 50% of illegal immigration is visa overstays. Mm-hmm. Those people came here.
I think it's 40%.
No, it's very close to 50.
Okay.
That's a big chunk of people. Mm-hmm. So, okay, you're going to stop some of it by building the wall, but the wall's necessary for other reasons. Mm-hmm. What I want to do is, I don't like the word amnesty, but I know you're not going to kick out 11 million people. Mm-hmm. Forget about it. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. Mm-hmm. So I have a compromise that I've actually discussed with some people in the Catholic Church, some higher ups, but I'm not supposed to say any names. Mm-hmm. And I was told that this is a position they could live with.
Mm-hmm. Wait. The Catholic Church has
a very strong position on immigration. They believe in blanket amnesty for everybody.
Well, I mean, not Father Basio, who is Bascio. His book is The Immorality of Illegal Immigration. He's a father, and he was asking a priest. He's no longer living, but he wrote the book. But I wish that you would take that book to some of the people that you know in the Catholic Church, because they're wrong-headed on this issue.
Oh, totally. I agree. Mm-hmm. My position, where I'm a little bit different than the president, is I believe we create a new status of green card, which is, I don't think I've heard this from anybody, which is permanent green card with no path to citizenship. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you want to become a citizen, you leave the country and come back legally. Mm-hmm.
I think Goodlatte has something like that. There's a bill that he drafted that says, and there's an issue about the Congress voting on it, but it may be, don't quote me, but he has something like you can never get citizenship.
That's exactly what my, I've never heard that before, but that's my position. My position is permanent green card status, but also you have to pay all back income taxes, a fine for coming here illegally, and you have to basically admit that you broke the law. Because an illegal immigrant is a lawbreaker, the same as somebody that goes into a convenience store with a gun and robs the guy.
Okay, so that's permanent green card status, but never an American citizen.
Never an American citizen, and you can never vote.
That's why that means you can never vote. But, I mean, are people going to go for that? I don't think so. These people the Democrats want them to be able to vote.
The Democrats want them to open the borders and let everybody come in and take our taxpayers' money. That's not what I believe. That's wrong. These people broke the law. There has to be a penalty for breaking the law. End of story. Thank you very much. You can't just say...
But how many are you talking about? Because that, permanent green card status for how many exactly? Because we're talking at least a minimum of 12 million people. So you're going to give permanent green card status to 12 million people?
No, we're going to give permanent green card status to everybody that admits they broke the law, that pays the fines and pays back income taxes. That's not going to be the 11 or 12 million people. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get 1 million, 2 million people out of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what are you going to do about DACA?
What am I going to do? What is Congress going to do?
Well, no, what is your position on DACA? I mean, back up. Let me ask this. Why do you believe that someone who's worked in the movie business can go into Washington, D.C., and be impactful and effective? Why do you believe that?
Why do I believe that? Okay, let's start with my background. I'm a tax lawyer. Mm-hmm. I've been a tax lawyer since 1986. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into the movie business until the early 90s, and I started producing in 1997. Mm-hmm. I'm still a tax lawyer. I'm still a corporate lawyer. Most of my non-entertainment clients are overseas companies. Mm-hmm. So I understand trade. Mm-hmm. I understand taxes better than practically anyone in Congress. Mm-hmm. I understand the benefit of tax credits for creating jobs. Mm-hmm. I've created jobs. And when I started getting interested in politics in 2008, one of my main jobs was as a writer for Big Hollywood. I was a very close friend of Andrew Breitbart's.
Oh, really? That's a controversial subject, because I want to, what happened? But anyway, we're going to take
He died.
That's a controversy. Anyway, I want to take a break right now. When we come back from the break, how do you feel about taking calls?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, we're going to open up the phone line. I'm speaking with Frank DeMartini, who is running for. He's affiliated. He's a member of the South Los Angeles Inglewood Republican Assembly. We're talking about he's running against Omar Navarro on the Republican ticket in the 45th district, which includes the 45th district is
43rd.
43rd district is Maxine Waters. So we're going to come back. I'm going to open up phone calls. You can ask him anything you want. He's open to taking questions. We'll be right back. Go home. Hi, this is Kathleen Wells, host of The Naked Truth Report. And guess what, folks? The Naked Truth Report supports pro-English. And I'd like my truth warriors and mythbusters to support them too. Pro-English is the nation's leading advocate for English as the official language. They advocate for legislation in D.C., on Capitol Hill, in the White House, and in state houses across America in an effort to persuade lawmakers to adopt English as the official language at all levels of government. Right now, Pro-English supports the English Language Unity Act in Congress. And guess what? They're also working with the courts and the Court of Public Opinion to defend English's historic role as America's common and unifying language. 81% of Americans say that English should be the official language of the USA. And that's our position, and we want Congress to act now. Winston Churchill said the gift of a common language is a priceless inheritance. And President Teddy Roosevelt said, we have but one flag, we must also learn one language, and that language is English. So I'm asking you, truth warriors and mythbusters, to join me and the Naked Truth Report in supporting Pro-English today. You can follow Pro-English on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can visit their website at proenglish.org. That's right, proenglish.org. Show them some love.
Are you a local business owner? Are you interested in increasing customer counts and store traffic or increasing traffic to your website? If you answered yes, then you need to advertise on the Naked Truth Report. For more information on how to become a sponsor, please reach out to RJ Beaton at 818-517-KRLA. That's 818-517-5752. Or email us at rj@krla870.com. That's rj@krla870.com.
Your country is slipping away from you. Did you know California is one of the highest tax states in America, but also has the highest poverty rate? And did you know California politicians are considering placing a mileage tax on drivers? Think Prop 13 is safe? Think again. Mandated vaccinations, sexual indoctrination of school children, sanctuary for illegal aliens? Oh, and what about penalizing waiters with jail time and a fine of up to $1,000 for serving an unrequested straw? What's that all about? So the question becomes, when do you get sick and tired of being sick and tired? Friends, it's time to stop voting Democrat. I truly urge you to stand with the South Los Angeles Inglewood Republican Assembly today.
To get involved, visit us at slaira.com. That's SLAIRA.com or call 323-963-4USA.
Kathleen Wells, the host of the Naked Truth Report, wants to hear from you. Just like our borders, the phone lines, well, they're wide open. Call in at 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. 866-870-KRLA.
That's right. Get back. Get back, Democrats. That's why I wanted to play that. Because my position now, and my position has always been, since I've been doing the Naked Truth Report, is that I want the Democrats to get back, to stand down, because now is the time for California to change. Now is the time for Black Americans to no longer vote Democrat. Now is the time for all Californians and all Los Angelinos to no longer to vote Democrat. Now is the time for the Democrat Party to get back and stand down, right? That's my position. That's been my position ever since I've been on the Naked Truth Report, and I've looked at the data. What does the data say? California is, 50th now in terms of quality of life, right? We are at the bottom in terms of public education, right? We are like, Our homelessness has grown dramatically.
60,000 just in L.A. County.
Did you hear that? 60,000 homeless folks just in L.A. County. And let me tell you something. As a Black American woman, Black folks who are still voting Democrat are an embarrassment. You're harming the reputation of Black Americans. You're screwing up our reputation. You're making us look bad. That's the bottom line. So anyway, we're going to take... I want to mention that, did you hear my new sponsor? So I have another new sponsor, and that sponsor is Pro English. Their website, Pro English. I've had folks call into the show talking about how they have to speak Spanish to get a job, right? So go to their website, proenglish.org. That's their website. Go to their website, proenglish.org, and show them some love. Let them know you're from the Naked Truth Report and that you're a truth warrior and mythbuster. Los Angelinos should be the main people who want English to be embraced as the official language, right? Because we've had people call into the show talking about how they had to speak Spanish to get a job. So anyway, we're going to take our first call from Bert in Inglewood. Hi, Bert. You want to speak with Frank DeMartini, who is running in the 43rd District.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. How you guys doing today? My name is Bertrand Usher. I'm actually a volunteer for Frank DeMartini, but the reason why I called really has to go back to a conversation you guys recently had about Omar Navarro and also Frank's professional history. But before I continue on with that, I just want to give a little bit of backstory on me. I was born and raised in Inglewood. In fact, I lived my entire life here. Any event I went to with friends was at Crenshaw and Century. We always ride the 710 everywhere we go. And I've essentially, become one with the community. And the reason why I wanted to get that out there first was just to explain why I chose Frank over Omar Navarro.
Okay.
Now, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're listening. Take it away. Take it away, Bert.
Okay, so off the bat, I've actually known Omar for about 3 to 4 years in between that time frame, and I've gotten to know him very well. And here's the deal. I know more about my district than he does. The reason why I chose Frank is because I was very impressed with his background. He is a Hollywood producer, and he also was a tax lawyer for a while, and I still think he does taxes if I remember correctly. Omar, on the other hand, has lived his entire life off of politics, but he hasn't done it in an intelligent way. He essentially does it because if you look at his history, he wasn't good at anything else. And that's ironic, because if I look at me and my friends actually from the district, you know, we try our hardest, especially as African Americans, because all of them are African American males.
No, don't say African American.
You're allowed to say black on this show.
Say Black American. Okay. Don't say please.
Say black.
Yeah. Say Black American. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, essentially, just to get down straight to the point, is he is not a hard worker, and he doesn't have the the skills to properly run this district with over 700,000 people.
I can even, Bert, so let me interrupt you for a second. I can take that one step further.
Go for it.
I know he's been endorsed by Larry Elder.
Yeah.
And I've asked Larry for equal time. Larry will not put me on the show because Larry knows that I can talk Omar to the floor.
Yeah. And let me just, Frank, are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's an embarrassing, because if you actually really look at, you know, some of his supporters and volunteers, and I know some of them very well, a majority of his African-American supporters actually left him. And the reason why is they realize that he actually doesn't know what to do with our community. In fact, the idea of him even making it into office is scary to me, because I have experienced, you know, your average typical low-income black male life. I see the homeless epidemic. It's literally right outside my door. The streets have gotten dirtier over the past 2 years, especially after Measure H was passed. It's gotten terrible. I occasionally go down to my alma mater, which is Dorsey High School.
That's my alma mater, too. That's my alma mater.
That's your alma mater. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do know Dorsey is not that different from Inglewood. And from what I can see from Dorsey, and also talking to some of my friends who volunteer for Inglewood High School, the education has also gotten worse over time. There are major issues in our district that need to be fixed. Frank, in my experience, because I also personally know Edwin Duterte as well, Frank is the only candidate who actually has a game plan set. The other guys, I know them well. In fact, I consulted with them, which is why I know them well. Have no actual plan. And it sucks for a person like me, especially see a person like Omar and Edwin bring in votes, because I know by the end of the day, even if they were to make it in office, they would have no plan to fix it. And I have to sit here and I have to tutor, you know, mentor kids, because I'm a part of this program called Motivated Men. I have to mentor these kids, and it hurts my head to see just how bad our education system is. And furthermore, it's shocking to see how dirty the streets are. It's shocking to see 4 to 5 homeless people just on my block in Manchester alone.
You're on Manchester. Isn't that this is amazing. I'm from here originally. Look at what Los Angeles has become under Democratic rule.
You got to see it.
There's nobody that wants to stay here anymore. And I hate to say that, but it's flight. Everybody is leaving this state that can get out.
Yeah.
The only people coming in are illegal immigrants.
Right.
California is going to lose 1 congressional seat in 2020, at least, and there's a chance they might lose 2.
Which seats?
Yeah.
Well, they'll go from 53 to 50. They're going to be picked up by either Texas or Florida, or maybe even Arizona. California has never lost a seat. I think in the last election, Louisiana lost 4.
You mean
the way it works is you do the census every 10 years, and based upon the population, the congressional seats are allocated. And I think it's 1 congressional seat for every 900,000 in population now. Now, that's true to a certain extent, because the really small states are guaranteed 1 congressional seat. So Wyoming has 1, North Dakota has 1, Alaska has 1, regardless of what their population is. And then the other 430 out of the 435 are allocated based on $900,000 people.
So you're saying California is going to lose a state because we're losing population?
We're gaining population, but we're not gaining population in relation to the rest of the other states. So let's say in the next census in 2020, it goes from 900,000 per congressional seat to 950,000. The way the trends look right now, California will lose a congressional seat for the first time ever.
Oh, good. The first time ever. Anyway, yeah, we all know here that California is going down the tubes. So you endorse Frank DeMartini, who's here in the studio, Bert, right?
Yeah, I endorse Frank, and I was kind of dumbfounded when I learned individuals like Larry Elder went out of their way and endorsed, certain candidates who actually don't have any political experience. And it was just kind of shocking to me because, I sit here as an African-American male. A black male. I was told since I was a kid, you got to get your education, Bert. It's going to be 2 times harder for you because I am a pretty tall, pretty big dude, by the way. I'm 6'2", about 210, played football. So I was told that consistently. And I was also told if you run for office and you want to become a politician, you have to have your head on straight and you have to do this for the will of the people. Now there is where the problem goes in. You have individuals like Larry Elder, and you also have others out there who consistently talk about improving, the black community, but then they did this to me, and they endorsed a guy who I straight up just say stuff you don't want to hear.
Well, listen, I don't want to go 100% against Larry because Larry endorsed Omar before he knew I was in the race.
Right.
But now he won't put me on the air to give me equal time.
Yeah, and by the end of the day, I myself plan to run for office. I've been a Republican since I was 18 years of age. I chose the party after I was actually forced in college to read a book on Abraham Lincoln and the Free Soil Party, and my mind just opened up on the topic. And by the end of the day, just to get to it, I do think Frank is the candidate of choice. I don't have any hate against Larry. I don't have any hate against the individuals who endorsed the other candidate. But seeing my community slowly degrade over the past 2 years, and this is something that even my Democratic friends agree with me on, it has gotten bad. It's gotten so bad to the point to where I had one of my friends, he actually, he made a joke to me. He said, Bert, I'm not riding the bus anymore because I was almost assaulted by this crazy homeless guy, and this was like the 3rd time in the past month.
I've also been told
a week ago.
I've been told by 3 elder black American ladies that they've had it with Maxine because she's done nothing for people in the district. These are people in Inglewood.
Yeah. We've got, listen, I want to tell everyone out there within earshot to please do not vote Democrat. Do not vote Democrat. At a minimum, send a message, Los Angelinos, to the Democratic Party. They have used and abused black folks long enough. Okay, thank you, Bert, for calling in. Now I'm going to take a call from Rick in Sacramento. Hi, Rick.
Good evening, Kathleen. Thanks for taking my call, and I'm so excited about your guest, Mr. DeMartini, who is running. And I know that area well because I used to work in Los Angeles, even though I live in Sacramento. I was a corporate employee, and I used to travel all throughout, Inglewood, Torrance, Maine and Manchester, Century, and Crenshaw. In fact, my wife is a Los Angelino who grew up on Maine and Manchester. And but the reason why I was calling is that I sent a tweet to Mr. Navarro, and he never answered back. So I think he's like a candidate in name only. He just loves to run.
Come on, that's not fair. But no, it's not fair to say you sent a tweet to someone and they didn't answer back.
What I did was I said, okay, hey, I'm excited because I didn't know about any other person that was running in that district. So I said, hey, man, get back with me. I'd like to say hello, maybe.
But that's not fair. People don't necessarily have to respond to your tweets.
And I called him, and I called his number.
And
I called his number.
You know how unreasonable that sounds? I mean, there are thousands of people reaching out to him, I'm sure. And you cannot take someone not responding to you on social media as necessarily indicative of anything. Come on.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Right, come on. I tweeted him and he didn't respond. Oh, my God, he's the devil. Come on.
Here's my next question for Mr. DeMartini. I love the fact that you're a tax lawyer. I'm an economics student with the school in San Francisco. But I tell you what is your thoughts on getting people to understand that the more the illegal immigrants come through the community, the higher the taxes that everyone has to pay, even those Hispanics that vote Republican and those that do not. What are your thoughts on the tax implication?
Well, if you've got to provide more public services to a bunch of illegal immigrants, illegal people living here, of course the tax base has to be higher in order to support them. That's a simple question. And the people who are paying the taxes, which are the legal people residing here and the citizens have to pay more to support the base of the illegals.
Absolutely. And do you know what, Mr. DeMartini, you have been the first person that I've heard that's running for an office in California to say that, because it's almost taboo to say that the hardworking taxpayers of California have to foot the bill for illegal immigration. And I heard recently and read that bill is that tax bill that we pay to support illegal immigrants is $60 billion a year in California.
Yeah, that's the correct number. I've heard that number as well.
Yeah, so that's just outrageous. And any Democrat who, like I was mentioning to Kathleen, my cousin, who's 50 years old, got laid off because she didn't speak Spanish on the job.
Well, let's talk about the tax code for a second, since you bring it up. Most people don't understand that the tax code is not just about raising revenue. The tax code is a series of incentives to create jobs, and it works. I mean, just in the entertainment industry alone, there used to be a section called Section 181, which granted an incredible tax break for people shooting in the United States in order to keep production from leaving the country. The same goes for the oil industry. The same goes for the farming industry. And every industry ad infinitum is getting some sort of break in the United States tax code to create jobs. So it's not just about creating revenue to bring money to the coffers of the U.S. Treasury. It's primarily to create jobs and to create business incentives. And most people don't understand that about the tax code, because all they do is they see their taxes taken out of their paycheck and they say, I don't want to pay this anymore. But they don't know that most of the incentives that are being granted to create jobs. And unfortunately, when you're talking about illegal immigrants, they're not getting the benefits of any of those incentives because they're not paying any taxes.
I just saw
Absolutely.
I just saw something that report that said that the IRS justifies paying refunds to illegal immigrants, tax refunds. What is your thought on that?
This is a real tough one to answer, because if they've been paying taxes and they paid more than they should have paid had they been legal, then they're probably technically permitted to get a refund. But if they haven't paid enough, they should be paying on April 15th in the same way that you and I are. The big issue is the employer that hired them shouldn't have hired them. And if there's a fake Social Security number being used, then there's a possibility that the person with that real Social Security number is losing potential Social Security benefits in the future because of the illegal person with the same number. I mean, there's many cases out there. In fact, when I was the general counsel at Millennium Films, we had on 2 occasions a duplicate Social Security number come up on a new employee. And the minute we confronted the employee, we never saw him again.
Wow. Can I drop one more nugget about the taxes?
Go ahead. Sure,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so there was a report that came out 4 years ago. It was out of Indianapolis, about illegals who are using that another type of ID, not their typical tax ID or Social Security number, but another type of ID, and they were claiming a lot of dependents that were not living in their homes, and the average refund check was $17,000.
Well, I mean, okay, Rick, what you're talking about now is out-and-out tax fraud. That's got nothing to do with illegals. There's a lot of legals doing that as well. I mean, that's straight-on tax fraud, and those people should be going to jail for tax fraud. And just to clarify that, nobody goes to jail in the United States for owing money for taxes. You go to jail regarding the tax code when you break the law involving the tax code. And that doesn't mean not paying your taxes. That means breaking the law. And what you just described is out-and-out tax fraud. If a person's illegal and they're doing that and they get caught, they should be immediately deported. If they're legal, put them in jail.
And these were illegal. And in a recent report that I also saw, and people can just look this stuff up, the government said it was okay. They're not going to pursue it. And that's the part that really just ticked me off. So that's all I had, and thank you, Kathleen, for allowing me to call into your show. And good luck, Mr. DeMartini.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, that's, Omar Navarro is, I don't know. I want to talk to Larry Elder about it. I want to talk to Larry, maybe, because maybe we could have a debate on the show.
Oh, I've actually asked for that.
And?
Every time I mention debating to Omar, Omar goes, Omar's exact words are, why should I give you publicity and help you beat me? Omar is in this for one and only one reason, to get money. And I don't like to say that, but if you look at his FEC Form 3, there's a lot of questionable items on there, like trips to Las Vegas, buying clothing. What does that have to do with getting elected?
And you said he also said that it would be easier for him to run as a Democrat?
Yeah, about 2 months ago, I think the filing deadline was March 9th. About a month before the filing deadline, he tweeted, I'm thinking of running as a Democrat.
You know, I'm so disappointed in California. I'm so disappointed in Los Angeles. 5 decades of Democratic rule. This is a one-party state. We are just so Wait, it
hasn't been 5 decades yet. Don't make it worse than it is.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, black folks have been voting Democrat since the
60s.
Yeah. So Democrat. Oh, we did have
we had Duke Majan and Wilson when I moved here. So
we had Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Well, Schwarzenegger was a rhino.
Right.
And I know him, so he'll probably get mad that I say that.
Well, you know, I'm just so disappointed in California. I hope that things are turning around. Anyway, I have 1 more minute. I just want to say, please, everyone who's within earshot, please go out and vote, and don't vote for a Democrat. Black Americans, don't vote Democrat. Vote for Frank DeMartini.
Yeah, and if you live in the 43rd District, vote for me. The name is Frank DeMartini. The website is demartini2018.com, and that's spelled DEMARTINI 2018.com.
Okay, thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure. Maybe I'll try to talk to Larry and see if we can get you on his show or to debate with Omar. This is my love song for Truth Warriors and Mythbusters who have deep roots in Los Angeles, deep roots in California, and deep roots in America. This is my love song to you. I love you. I'll see you next week. Thanks.
The Naked Truth Report was sponsored by Kathleen Wells on AM 870, The Answer.